Well, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. You have made it to Hump Day. That is right. It is Wednesday night. It is the 25th of September in the year 2024. We have, I don't know how many days left to the election, but for however many we've got, we're going to be here and have fun doing it. Hi, how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and you have found your way to Chattin on the Porch, a live stream that we have here Monday through Thursday nights from the hour of 7:30 in the evening until we ever feel like going home, whenever that might be. Usually we wrap it up about an hour and a half into it. And in the meanwhile, we have some fun. We talk about the news. We give our views. We tell everybody what we think about it all. And before you know it, you've gotten through the day. And not only have you gotten through the day, you've been better informed because you have come to this place to help get through your day. And we give you some laughs along the way. And boy, we got quite a few things lined up this evening. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. So please, if you have not done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel on Rumble and YouTube. And by the way, you YouTube subscribers out there, make sure you're constantly checking your subscriptions. YouTube likes to play some games with me, and I want to make sure everybody is subscribed who thinks they're subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Or as that wild man Camelot spawn is saying, get on it, doggone it. Again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I'm sometimes known as the wise guy in the wide brim. Sometimes I'm known as that fine fella in the fedora. But above all else, in this hour, at this moment, on this planet, I am your host. Again, we are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on YouTube. So please, if you have not done so yet, go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube and Rumble, and hit the thumbs up, leave some comments, do all that fun stuff that grows this channel, and we appreciate everything you guys do. And daggone you, Discord, you are driving me crazy. Ugh. There, I'm shutting you down again. No more noise from you. No noise from you. Ugh, anyway. Sorry about that, folks. Me and my computer. All right, let's see who's in the house so far. TBA says, are we live? Yes, we're live. We're not only live, we are alive. So there you go. Who else is here? Zippy's in the house. We are live. I too am live from the litter box. Well, keep on scratching, my friend. Keep on scratching in the free world. WWG1 says, I'm here to watch my favorite broadcaster. Oh, wait, wrong channel. Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. Jeez. Oh, geez. Zippy says, I'm currently the only shit in my litter box. Well, just as long as you're the biggest shit in your litter box. That's all I'm saying. Let's see what else. TBA says, wing nuts assemble. Test, beep, beep. The wing nuts are most certainly out in full force tonight on Rumble. Let's see who else is here. Chaya, good evening, my dear. How are you? I sent you a do me a favor and resend that. I checked. For some reason, I did not see it. I don't know what is going on. Crazy. Good evening, Miss Gypsy, and thank you for your contributions to the show tonight. We will get to those momentarily. Hello, doll baby. Mwah. By the way, this gives me a good time to segue right into it. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m., I will be on this lovely young lady's channel. Gen X marks the spot. We are doing a discussion of P. Diddy and all the stuff that's going on around Sean Puffy Combs. And oh my goodness, we are going to get into quite the discussion. I'm looking forward to it. So please come help Miss Tracy out tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Central. Or wherever you are out there in the civilized world that we call America. Well, it's mostly civilized. And come hang out with us. Because Tracy, first of all, Tracy is a fabulous YouTuber. Love her to death. She is a doll. Please help support her channel in any way you possibly can. Give her a sub. whatever. So help her out. She's just too cool. So yeah, she's got me coming on her channel tomorrow night, and she's risking her life and limb doing it. Or better to say, she's risking her channel doing it. But there you go. So tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern, please come on out. So yes, cannot wait to hang out with this lovely young lady. Let's see who else is here. Tiny Tesla's in the house. Yeah. Good evening, my love. Let's see who else is here. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's what they said when I got my last beer. Oh my God, it's 2:00. Can't find my keys and the truck's locked. And if you can give me that song title, this I want to see. Can you give me the song title that goes to that lyric? That's what I want to know. Midmo's in the house. Oh my word, darling. Oh, Jessica, we so need to get together and talk sometime in the near future. I've got to get you back on the channel sometime. I got to get you back on the channel. I got to get Harlow back on the channel at some point. Both of y'all, I got to get you back on here sometime, just catch up with you. Because Lord have mercy, you have been tearing it up on Twitter with what's going on out in Colorado with all kind of local government stuff. I got to talk to you, girl. We got to talk, but we're glad you're here tonight. And I probably am too old for Discord. Hell, I'm probably too old for a lot of things, but these crazy kids and their stuff, I got to immerse myself in it to do this social media thing. I don't know. It's all too crazy. Oh no, you're too kind, darling, for having me on. Yes, please do. Yes. Anything you can send me on P. Diddy. Yes, absolutely. Please send it over to me. I've got to do some deep diving tonight after the live stream's over to get ready for Miss Tracy's event tomorrow, her soiree that I've been invited to. So this should be a load of fun. Oh yeah, okay, darling. I'll send you a message tonight, and we'll get something set up because I definitely want to have you back on. Because man, there's stuff going on out in your Colorado. I mean, lay aside the whole Aurora thing, but you got stuff going on in Jefferson County, just all kinds of stuff I'm seeing you post about. And I'm very curious. So yes, we're going to send you a message this evening, darling. And I'm looking forward to having you back on. Oh goodness. So glad to have all of you here tonight. That's what I love about this, guys. Wait a minute. TBA says, don't want to deep dive too much on Diddy. You'll get dirty. Well, now, okay. There's deep diving and then there is deep diving. Okay, so there you go. Well, let's put it this way, TBA. I'm going to do a deep dive on Diddy, but I'm not using any baby oil. So maybe that makes me safe. I'm just saying. Now, Zippy, how unkind. First of all, now she says that I'm too old for Discord. Zippy's over there on Rumble saying I'm too old for Windows. Well, keep in mind, I am I'm going in rough on Diddy. Oh, jeez. Now I got WFG1 saying, at least use a condom for God's sake. Wait a minute. I disavow all of this. Wait a minute. I am innocent. Well, I'm not that innocent, but I'm innocent of some of these comments. Good grief, y'all. Oh, goodness. Jessica, my love. What you doing tomorrow? This could get spicy. Oh Lord! Now this could turn into me being a thorn in the middle of two roses. I tell you what. Oh boy! TBA says you stepped in it, Brian. TBA, I'm usually stepping in it. Oh God! Y'all are awful. This looks like it's going to happen, folks. This looks like it's going to happen. Oh goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my. I better clean up, shave real close and, put on the smell good for tomorrow. Oh my word. Lordy, have mercy. Oh, okay. TBA says menage a trois. Now wait a minute. Now just hold on now. We're not doing a threesome. Yes, there'll be two women and one man, but no, we're not getting the baby oil out, TBA, for God's sake. Oh my God. All right, let's get on with the show before this gets worse. My God. Okay. Since everybody is feeling very merry, uh, among other reasons why we're here, Jessica, among other reasons why we're here. Oh, goodness. God, I have so lost control of this live stream already. Jesus. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Ugh, y'all, I love you guys. I swear I do. All right. Speaking of Diddy, that sort of leads us to our very first meme of the evening. And for those of you not familiar with this live stream, we have a section of the show that we call the Merry Memes. Some of these are contributed by folks who are regulars to the channel. Sometimes I find them on Twitter on my own. Sometimes I find them all over the place. We put together a collection of them and we try to give you guys a laugh as we get through this crazy thing that we call life. So with that, sometimes you get invited to a social gathering and you're feeling real good about it. And then when you're on the way, you come across a piece of information that makes you wonder if this was such a good decision. And such is the case with people who've been invited to certain parties hosted by Sean Diddy Combs. I mean, for example, here's a gentleman who was very happy with the idea that he was going to be heading for a party. And then he found out he's going to be at Diddy's place. And he's really like, maybe not so much. So I don't know, guys. I think in the end, I think this guy maybe made the right decision as far as be like, I don't know if I want to go to this party. Maybe I ought to turn this thing around. And I say good for him. That's all I'm saying. So there you go with that. Now, we said the other night that that even though Sean Combs is now, in jail, he is still, as a influential and powerful member of the business community and the media, he's still conducting business and out of jail. He's working on endorsement deals. He's working on, new movie ideas, new songs, new soundtracks. He's talking with the studio people. He's talking with, whomever, vis-a-vis his lawyers, of course, and under supervised visits, as you are wont to do if you're in jail. And apparently he's also working right now with DC Comics on one of the new Batman movies, which, I didn't think this was going to I didn't even know he had any interest in comic books. But apparently Sean Combs has come up with an idea for a new character for one of the Batman movies. And I don't know, guys. This one I don't know how this one's going to go over. I mean, it might be good in concept, but is this really what you want to do right now if you're Sean Combs, as far as pitching an idea to DC Studios? I don't know, man. I don't know. He seems to think that this is going to work out well for him, when he gets this thing behind him, he gets out of jail. If DC Studios wants to star him in the movie, he's got this idea for the character. I don't know, man. This kind of, I don't know. Batman versus the Diddler. I don't know. Okay. We'll see. We will see. I don't know. Well, now, wait a second. Miss Chaya has sent me something here. Let us see. Okay. Hang on, darling. Let me see what we got here. Hang on. Chai, darling, this still hasn't shown up yet. Okay, it'll get here. I'll keep an eye out for it. Don't worry, I will keep an eye out for it. But it has not arrived yet. But I will keep an eye out for it. All right. In the meanwhile, let us move along. TBA says, how many tabs have you got open, Brian? My computer is lagging big time. Okay, that's not your computer, dude. I have got a crap ton of tabs opened up on my other monitor. So if you're seeing a bunch of tabs up there, that's not lag, that's me. So just saying. Language. As you know, sometimes different words can be pronounced differently. Sometimes they can have different meanings to different people, and such is a word which, by the way, for those of you out there who enjoy the practice of yoga, you're going to appreciate this perhaps more than anyone else. Now, whenever you hear the word namaste, you have a particular understanding of that in your practice of yoga, as I've done some yoga in my time. Let's get into that discussion some other time, somewhere down the road. But Floridians have a different understanding of what that word means. And in case you're wondering how Floridians define it, Floridian word of the day, namaste. Let me back this off a second. The teacher in me honors the teacher in you. That is what namaste means in the practice of yoga. Thank you, Jessica. I couldn't quite remember exactly, but that nails it right on the head. Thank you, love. TBA says, Brian does yoga. My brain is twisted thinking about what that looks like. You just shut your pie hole over there, okay? All right. Now, for Floridians, they have an entirely different understanding of the word namaste. For them, it means, how would you use it in a sentence if you're from Florida? Are y'all going to evacuate? Namaste here. So there you go. So, and I will put now, Jessica, for you and for everybody else, I'm going to put this one in chat. And if you ever want to use this or whatever, please feel free. I just saw it and thought, oh, it's too daggone funny. Yeah. Floridian word of the day, namaste. How do you use that in a sentence? Y'all going to evacuate? Namaste here. Which, by the way, that Floridian attitude toward hurricanes may in part explain how and why it is that they decorate outdoors. Okay. And I don't know if that's going to, and TBA says, aren't the Floridians riding out a hurricane this weekend? Well, actually, that is true. There's something coming through there. And it might explain why some of them decorate outside of their houses the way they do. I mean, for example, here's a wonderful combination of outdoor patio furniture and your swimming pool. I don't know. I think this lady is absolutely ready for at least three things all at once. Number one, she's ready to party. Number two, she's ready for any kind of weather event that happens in her area. And number three, if God forbid everything gets soaked, well, hell, it's all underwater anyway. So what difference does it make if it rains or hurricanes or whatever? So I think she's ready. I think this is a really good idea. The only question I've got is, did she bolt that stuff into the floor of the pool, or how is that being held down? I mean, I have questions. I don't know. TBA says keeps the patio furniture from being flung through the windows. I agree. This is eminently practical. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but to me, this makes a whole lot of sense. So, I think it's great. Block Dad Runner is here over on Rumble. Says, hey, y'all. Good evening to you, sir. Glad to have you. See, yeah, I think the Floridians are onto something here. Now, what have we got next? Yes. Now, and Jessica, I'm actually kind of glad you're here this evening. I think you're going to appreciate this one. Now, look, between the election, between local issues, between life's struggles personally, between struggles of your family members, there are a lot of things that are keying everybody up. And everybody is obviously trying to find a way to relax. And we're also trying to help find a way for our friends to relax. Well, I saw this one earlier and I thought, I'm not advocating for this one, but then again, I can understand where it's coming from. So with that, roll, roll, roll your joint, twist it at the end, light it up, take a puff, then pass it to a friend. I don't know if that's a good way to use the tune from Row, Row, Row Your Boat, but there you go. So, like I say, I am not advocating for this, but given everything that's going on, I can kind of understand why people would feel this way. Anyway, for those who enjoy the herb, I will pass this on in chat on both YouTube and Rumble. So, feel free if you enjoy this one, there you go. I thought you might get a kick out of it. And maybe this is, hey, look, maybe this is why the Floridians are as chill as they are. There you go. All right. Over on Rumble, Zippy with a Rumble rant. Thank you very much, sir. Sorry was gone. Worm ear check. He says the lyrics that you were singing earlier were from Gretchen Wilson's song "All Jacked Up." I hate you. I love the song. It's in my country music junk file folder. LOL. Ding, 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 ding. Right on the money. Yes, that was from Gretchen Wilson's song "All Jacked Up," which, by the way, even if you're not a country music fan, let me recommend to you, go out on YouTube and watch the video. The video is absolutely hysterical. And you talk about all her friends showing up for this thing. I mean, you got appearances by Kid Rock, Hank Williams Jr., the late Charlie Daniels, Big and Rich, Larry the Cable Guy. This thing is hysterically funny. So yeah, go check out All Jacked Up. It is absolutely incredible. All right, let's see. Okay, hang on. Oh, there it is. There it is. I see it now. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. We got it now. We got it now, Chaya. Okay, cool. All right. Yep, we got it. We got it. As a matter of fact, I'm an idiot. You did send this to me earlier. I thought it was from someone else. And I've already got it lined up. So we got you covered, dear. Okay. All right. And maybe, and again, I'm not advocating for this, but maybe if people, partook a little more of the herb, they wouldn't have nearly the stressed out look that they're getting these days. I mean, for example, look at these two people. Bless their hearts. If anybody is in need of trying the herb as a stress reliever, I don't know about you guys, but maybe that's what these two need. I don't know. Bless their hearts. Because her eyes are about to bug out of her head. Now, Tim Walls, I don't know what the heck's wrong with him, but I'm just saying. Whew, mercy. Like I say, I am not necessarily advocating for the herb, but it does have some very calming effects. I'm just saying. Motard's here. How you doing, Motard? Good to have you here tonight. Tracy says, I met Gretchen Wilson in 2006 or 2016. She was sitting at a bar in South Nashville, sat down next to her and didn't recognize her. We chatted for over an hour. The bartender told me who she was after. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is funny. That is funny. Too funny. All right, Dave's in the house. Man, we're getting quite the crowd tonight. Daggone. I love it. TBA over on Rumble says, oh my God, father and daughter. I hadn't thought about that, but you are so right. That is so true. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, she could be Tim Walls' long lost daughter. Damn. Now to finish off Tracy's story, she was so nice, and I think she loved that I didn't know who she was. She was just a hot chick I was flirting with. and it was 2006. Yeah, hey, Gretchen, I'll tell you what, Gretchen Wilson, is really a good looking lady. I mean, I know it's been a little bit of time has gone by since she exploded on the music scene, but I tell you what, Gretchen Wilson is not hard on the eyes. Not at all. But I'll tell you one thing, I definitely would not want to try and drink with that woman. Whew, mercy. That one could probably put me under the table in short order. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Oh, your state of New Hampshire is getting real interesting to me, my friend. I'm just saying. New Hampshire and Virginia and a handful of other places right now are getting really intriguing to me, but we'll get back to that later. All right. What else have we got in the way of the merry memes? Yes. Here's the one that Chaya sent me. And, regardless of who wins this election, whether it's Trump, whether it's Harris, I mean, there's just no doubt about it. That job, the office of the president, tends to age a person. Okay. And it's not, and it's not surprising. I mean, I think it was Gerald Ford who described the office of the president as the biggest pressure cooker in the world. Okay. And, I mean, everybody's seen the pictures of what people look like before they go in and after they come out. Well, I don't know about you guys, but man, some people age better than others. I mean, Obama, he came in looking young and smooth, and then he comes out looking really like salt and pepper. Trump, well, he gets a little less tan. Joe came in looking like a man, then came out looking, whoa, wait a minute, hold it, what the, huh? He grew a set, which then again, people said he needed to grow a set anyway, but that's not the kind of set we're talking about here. He grew a set of stuff. Oh my God. Whew, mercy. Yeah, he really, Joe, bless his heart. My goodness. Yeah, buddy. Mercy. Yeah. TBA says Trump looks the same. Biden though looking, Biden looking, man, he just, Lord have mercy. Yeah. Thank you for that one, Chaya. Now, as y'all know, and this is we're starting to wrap up the merry meme section of the show. Well, you may not know about this. Let me pop this up on screen. I'll kind of tell you where I'm going. About an hour ago, Stephanie Ruel of MSNBC had an interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. And and I mean, there's a lot of criticisms of Kamala Harris with regard to how she's campaigning. And look, let's just be honest about it. And everybody knows the questions. I mean, she takes only interviews from certain people. She doesn't take any really difficult questions. She only goes on places where she feels comfortable and secure, etc. And all of those are legitimate. Well, prior to this this interview, through our vast network of spies that we have out there as they are working on behalf of you, our listeners, and the Electronic Front Porch, we were able to get a hold of some of the questions that Stephanie Ruel is going to be asking or asked Kamala Harris in this interview. And I thought that you guys, if you haven't seen the interview yet, that you might want to know what you're going to hear. Okay. And I think that's only fair. And after you read through some of these questions, you can decide for yourself whether or not, it's really worth your time watching this interview or not. I mean, for example, question number one that Stephanie Ruel asked, when did you first realize you were destined to be such a trailblazer for democracy and women everywhere? Okay. Apparently, Stephanie Ruel also asked Kamala Harris, With all the chaos around, how do you manage to juggle the vice presidency and still find time for self-care? Any skincare tips? Now, I mean, look, women of America might be very interested to know this sort of thing. I mean, just saying. Let's see what other hard-hitting questions are she going to be asked tonight. Can you tell us about the moment you knew you'd be an inspiration to young girls around the world? Again, very important. I'm sure that women in America want to know these sort of things. Let's see. Here's another one. How do you keep yourself centered when you're saving democracy on a daily basis? That's fair. That is absolutely fair. Yeah, that's a fair question to ask. Let's see. Here's a very important one. You've handled the challenges of being vice president with such grace. Does it ever feel like you're just too good at your job? Humility is an important thing in a leader. Yeah, I think that's a fair question. Does she ever have that moment that she thinks, I'm just too good at this sort of thing? What else have we got here? How do you manage to stay so optimistic and grounded when faced with the constant misinformation and lies from the MAGA wing of the GOP? All right, that's a reasonable question, I think. Let's see. All right, now we're getting close to the end. What's one life lesson you wish every little girl could learn from your journey? I can answer that one. Knee pads. Just saying. All right, last question. Is there any pressure being such a beloved and historic figure, or does it just come naturally to you? Again, all of these important, hard-hitting questions that you, the American people, want to know. And fortunately, like I said, we were able to get our hands on an advanced copy of these questions. So like I say, you guys make up your mind. You've seen the questions that Kamala Harris is going to be asked tonight. You decide whether you want to go through and listen to this thing. I mean, hell, I've done such a fabulous job of articulating these things. It might not even be worth watching Kamala Harris's answer just because you've seen me ask the questions. But I will leave that to your good judgment to decide for yourselves. And he's so humble, too. Anyway, I do have a couple of clips. From this interview. And now, in all seriousness, if you are out there thinking that Kamala has done herself any favors with this interview tonight, oh God, I've got this, and then I've got her speech at the Economic Club of Pittsburgh today. I've got some clips a little bit later on, and oh my God, this woman is just... There is no... Oh, you know what, WWG1? That's an even better answer to that question. Remember that one question we saw? What is the one life lesson that you want young girls to know, from your journey? WWG1's got an even better answer than mine. I said knee pads. His answer to that question is how to give good head. WWG1, you're on to something there, man. I mean, I absolutely agree with you. That might be an even better answer, that Kamala's going to give tonight. I don't know. Anyway, if you thought that Kamala was going to do herself any favors with this interview tonight, oh, children, let me disillusion you of that idea right now. Here's one of the two clips that you will hear this evening.
Expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money.
Wait a minute. Hang on.
For a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Okay, now I have to say something here, which I didn't think I was going to be saying. Honestly, that's a pretty good question. I mean, like I say, I've got little to no use for Stephanie Ruhle. I mean, she's part of that MSNBC crowd that, generally speaking, make me want to just absolutely scream and, tear my hair out over, or what little hair I have left on my head. But, that's a really good question. All right. Having set that up, let's see what Kamala comes back with here. I mean, you're talking about expanding the child tax credit. Well, what happens if the Republicans take control of the Senate? What happens? What are you going to do here? So here's Kamala's answer.
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share.
Expand.
All right, I want you to hear this just one more time, and I'm sorry, but I think this is worth. I'm going to do this uninterrupted. Okay, so start to finish, here's the clip.
Expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share.
Now, did you notice what she was doing there? She was searching for an answer. Matter of fact, I'm trying to remember. Did Stephanie ask her about raising taxes? Hang on a minute. Let me go through the transcript of that thing real fast. Child tax credit, mention housing before giving that. First time, okay. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if the GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Okay, so she asks her, well, if you can't raise taxes, and if the GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money? Do you plan to borrow? So it's a good question, and she's literally you can see Kamala Harris doing it. She's searching for the answer, and then when she gets to the phrase, making them pay their fair share, of course we're going to make. That's when you can see her getting comfortable in the answer. Let's see. Tracy says, I love how she does the interview with network that is nothing but her supporters already. No independents are watching MSN. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Total avoidance. Yeah, it fell right back on the fair share Democrats. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I saw that. Jeffrey Clark has been all over this. We're going to, let's see, Saturday morning. Remind me of this for Front Porch Brunch. We are getting into this. We are absolutely going to get into this. I've sort of been waiting because, not that I'm saying Jeffrey Clark. Jeffrey Clark is a former official in the Trump Justice Department, and he's been studying and analyzing something as it relates to Kamala, the prosecutor. Oh, let me tell you, kids, he's dropping some truth bombs that absolutely we need to talk about. Okay, but we'll do that Saturday morning. TBA over on Rumble says, what defines fair share? Great question. The Democrats have never been able to answer that question yet. Blocked Adrunner says, you had to cheat in college, convince me otherwise. Dude, I ain't disagreeing with you. Yeah, this is a fair question. This is an absolutely fair question. Yeah, absolutely fair. Totally fair. Okay, I'm stealing that. From now on, I'm referring to Kamala as fake AF. Honey, look, like they say in NASCAR, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. In social media, if you ain't stealing, you ain't trying. No, I'm not stealing. Go ahead. Absolutely borrow that thing. She is fake AF. Oh, God, yes, she is. All right, we've got one more clip from this Stephanie Rule interview. And this one, and I really can't believe, well, yeah, I can because Kamala is just that dumb. Fake. Okay. I misread you then. My apologies. I can't believe that Kamala went here on this next clip because she went right into Trump's wheelhouse. And with that, I'm going to play this. I'm not even really going to set it up except to say one word: tariffs. With that, listen to this.
Tariffs aren't unique to President Trump. President Biden has tariffs in place. He's actually looking to potentially implement more. Where do you come out on? Is there a good tariff, a bad tariff?
Okay, that's a fair question too. Tariffs are not unique to Donald Trump. President Biden has them. Where are you at on this? Is there a good tariff? Is there a bad tariff? Where do you come down on this? Again, reasonable question. Very reasonable question. And with that, here is our potential president's answer.
Well, part of it is you don't just throw around the idea of just tariffs across the board, and that's part of the problem with Donald Trump. Frankly, I'm going to, and I say this in all sincerity, he's just not very serious about how he thinks about some of these issues.
I'm sorry. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe it. I can't believe she went there. I can't believe. Yeah, well, actually, I can. He's just not a very serious person talking about some of these issues. Oh my God. This from the woman who, when she laughs, everybody in Washington gets scared. Not so much that they think she's crazy. They're just like, would you shut up? The more you keep laughing, the more you prove to everybody how stupid you are. Really? Anyway. All right, here's some more of this.
And one must be serious.
Oh, one must be serious. Oh, one must be serious. I cannot believe he's such an unserious person.
And have a plan, and a real plan that's not just about some talking point ending in an exclamation at a political rally.
Which is what you do all the time, but laying that aside.
But actually putting the thought into what will be the return on the investment, what will be the economic impact on everyday people.
Yes, and may I respectfully remind you, Vice President Harris, that when Donald Trump put those tariffs in place, China was paying us a crap load of money, which is one reason in part why, and Tracy, you are spot on with this, honey, Biden kept them all in place and then tacked on some more because he realized, hey, this is working pretty good. Oh, by the way, guys, I got a Biden clip later. I said a while back that I am pretty well convinced Biden is trying to put the knife into Kamala's back. Well, I've got an absolute straight up example of him doing that very same thing today, which will just prove my point. But we'll get to that momentarily. All right. Having now finished the Merry Meme section of the show, let me do a really quick commercial, and then we'll move on to some stuff I want to get into tonight. And my apologies for those two clips from the interview, but I found them before we got started, and I was like, oh, I got to play these. I've got to do it. You guys have got to see this. Anyway, if you have happened upon this live stream and you have found this wonderful collection of people in chat, I mean, my goodness, so many smart people, so many great content creators in their own right, and probably the smartest audience on the internet, otherwise known as Fedora Nation, then you have come to a live stream that is known as Chattin on the Porch. We get together Monday nights, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7:30 Eastern, and we talk about the news. And everybody on here can, laugh or cry about it or say whatever they want. I don't edit anybody. I only have one general rule. Be respectful to each other. Aside from that, I don't care what you say, which, like I said, kind of goes to my whole philosophy about free speech. But anyway, we're on Rumble, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube. So please, if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. We've been working real hard trying to build this thing up, and some days are good and some days aren't. And not because of the audience, just some days we get closer to the top of the mountain and some days we don't. But we're working to get to 1,000 subs on YouTube, which we're just really close. Sometimes I go up, sometimes I go down, but we're getting there and we're working on it, and we're getting there because of you. And if you're not subscribed to my channel on YouTube and Rumble, please consider giving me a sub. Also, please leave a thumbs up on both YouTube and Rumble. It really helps with the algorithm. Leave some comments, share the link around, tell your friends. Let's grow this sucker into something amazing. All right. Let us get into a couple of topics for the night, and then I've got some nightcaps to share with you guys. And quite a few nightcaps, actually. With that, the United States Senate has been working on a report as it relates to to the attempted assassination of former President Trump that happened on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania. And when I say they've been working on it, you would normally think to yourself, "Oh, well, okay, it's the Senate. They're gonna try and bury this thing." No. The Senate may be controlled by the Democrats right now, but I will give them credit. I genuinely do. I'm not, and that's not a setup for me to bash anybody. I'm being genuinely serious with what I'm about to say next. There has been a very bipartisan effort, Democrats and Republicans, to try to get some answers out of the Secret Service and the FBI about what happened. Because, and I mean, there's a legitimate reason to do it. I mean, look, laying aside the fact that this almost happened to Donald Trump, that he almost got killed, it doesn't matter if it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Jill Biden or Melania Trump or Kamala Harris or Doug Emhoff or former President Obama or whoever. The Secret Service has a responsibility to be able to protect their protectees. Okay? There were so many massive security failures over what happened that this goes to the question, can the Secret Service legitimately protect the people that they are assigned to? So I can understand why Democrats and Republicans want answers to this. You know, because like I said, regardless of what happens with Trump in this election or even going forward, this is a seriously legitimate security question. And with that, we go to justthenews.com. I've got an article here from John Solomon laying out some of what's in that report. Headline: in blistering report, Senate panel says Secret Service could have prevented first Trump shooting. Homeland Security Committee reports agency knew of increased threats against Trump prior to July 13th tragedy. John Solomon writes the following: a Senate investigation concluded Wednesday that the July 13th assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump in Pennsylvania was preventable and the result of sweeping failures by the Secret Service, some of which remain unaddressed. In a stinging bipartisan rebuke, the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee revealed that the Secret Service knew of increased threats against Trump, even sending a sniper for the first time to the July 13th event in Butler, Pennsylvania, but its agents on the ground were unaware of the threats and suffered from poor planning, poor communication, and even equipment failures. Quote, the committee finds that the United States Secret Service failures in planning, communications, security, and allocation of resources for the July 13th, 2024 Butler rally were foreseeable, preventable, and directly related to the events resulting in the assassination attempt that day, the committee reported. The committee also finds that siloed communications and coordination problems between federal, state, and local law enforcement officials remain unaddressed and were a contributing factor to the failures at the July 13th Butler rally. You can read the full report here. As a matter of fact, let me do something real quick here. I'm going to drop this in chat on both sides, and you guys can read the report at your leisure if you should choose to do so. Anyway, continuing with the article. The report detailed how an inexperienced Secret Service drone operator was on the phone with technical support trying to figure out how to operate a drone detection device as the assassination plot was unfolding. It also noted that civilians and local law enforcement both flagged the potential shooter, Thomas Matthew Crooks, ahead of time, and that local law enforcement repeatedly had pressed the Secret Service to protect the rooftop where the shooter would take aim at Trump and strike him in the ear with a bullet. Crooks, quote, was able to fly a drone 200 yards from the site, use a rangefinder capable of gauging the distance to the former president less than an hour before he began speaking, and to bring two explosive devices within proximity of the site of the rally, the report noted. The United States Secret Service planning, communications, intelligence sharing, and related security failures in advance of and during the July 13th directly contributed to Crooks' ability to carry out the assassination attempt and kill and injure people in Butler, Pennsylvania that day. The report revealed that a USSS counter sniper team leader received text messages from a local sniper at approximately 5:45 p.m., quote, regarding an individual near the AGR building with a rangefinder looking toward the stage. The text messages he received included 2 photos of crooks whose identity was unknown at the time. He forwarded the information to USSS counter sniper in an email, which contained an error. The message said, "Kid learning around the building we are in," instead of "kid lurking around the building we are in." One of the snipers who saw the email told the committee that it was worded vaguely, but it still searched the site for crooks. Among the alarming findings was that a Secret Service sniper saw local law enforcement with guns drawn headed toward the building where Crooks was about to shoot from, but did not alert the agents protecting Trump on the stage. Quote, shortly before the shots were fired, a USSS counter sniper saw local law enforcement running toward the AGR building with their guns drawn, but he did not alert former President Trump's protective detail to remove him from the stage, the committee reported. The USS counter sniper told the committee while seeing officers with their guns drawn elevated the threat level, he thought to notify someone to get Trump off the stage. The thought to notify someone did not cross his mind. And on and on and on it goes with this report. Secret Service last week issued its own report blaming itself for the failures and seeking more money for Congress to help it protect presidential candidates. The agency reviewed the Senate report and vowed to fix the issues it reviewed. Quote, the weight of our mission is not lost on us in this hyper-dynamic threat environment. The U.S. Secret Service cannot fail. Many of the insights gained from the Senate report align with our findings from our mission assurance review and are essential to ensuring that what happened on July 13th never happens again, U.S. Secret Service spokesman Andy Guglielmelli said Wednesday. Yeah, there you go, folks. Here's a good question. The snipers were sent to take the guy out. They knew. That's a good question. And it just strikes me as being very, very weird. Yeah, and don't use voice to text. My question is, why didn't you just get on the phone and say, hey, we got this kid in our sights. Blocked Ad Runner over on Rumble says, yet no one has been fired. Right on the nose, my friend. Right on the nose. Good point. So that's the report. Will anything come out of it? No idea. But in the meanwhile, that's not stopping some people from keep hyping up the rhetoric. Did you guys see this headline from earlier today? Check this out. Extinguish Trump for good. Banish him from American politics. This is the Commerce Secretary, Gina Raimondo, former governor of Rhode Island. She was giving an interview today, and what she said was just downright shocking. Check this out.
He says is the opposite. It's just another lie. Like, how did we get here? Let's extinguish him for good. We have an answer. We have a remarkably talented candidate who is sincere, who's pragmatic, who's open. Let's just get it done. And
folks, I'm going to play this one more time. And, you know, I'm willing to give her the smallest amount of benefit of the doubt. Okay? But still, this kind of language, totally unacceptable. I'll play it again.
He says is the opposite. It's just another lie. Like, how did we get here? Let's extinguish him for good. We have an answer. We have a remarkably talented candidate who is sincere, who's pragmatic, who's open. Let's just get it done. And
now, like I said, I know what she meant. And I'm sure she knows what she meant. And I can almost hear her now. Oh, I didn't mean that any harm would come to Donald Trump from that. That's not the point, lady. You and your side have been telling MAGA and Republicans for years, you guys need to dial down the rhetoric. You know, J.D. Vance made a really good point the other day, and I think it needs to be mentioned. You know, there's probably rhetoric on both sides, but the funny part is it's only Republicans who are getting shot at. Donald Trump, Steve Scalise, Rand Paul gets the crap beat out of him. It's only Republicans that get beat up or shot at. Yet we're the ones who are supposed to dial down the rhetoric. You got a Commerce Secretary out there saying, let's extinguish him. And as if that weren't bad enough, did you guys see Joe Biden on The View today? Watch this.
Then he just wouldn't go. He was like a bug. He just kept being there. He was like a bug right there. So you felt. Then he just wouldn't go. He was like
talking about Trump.
A bug. He just kept being there. He was like a bug right there. So you felt.
If you're wondering what Biden's doing, he's making like he's swatting a fly. Yeah, and Democrats can't seem to figure out why it is that all this violence is happening. Oh, it's because of Donald Trump, and he's ratcheting up his rhetoric. Yeah, she sure is. Trump nearly gets killed. Corey Contemporary gets killed. Somebody else gets injured at Butler. Yeah, it's all MAGA's fault. It's all Trump's fault. We've got some mentally sick people in this country right now. We've got some people who are either over-medicated or never should have been medicated in the first place. And then you're pumping them full of rhetoric like like Trump is an existential threat, and Trump's the bad guy, and Trump's like a fly that, ought to be swatted, and let's extinguish him. Let's get rid of him. He's Hitler. He's terrible. And then, you get some lunatic takes a shot at Trump. Another guy is getting within shouting distance of the golf course of taking a shot at Trump. Yet nobody seems to understand why all this violence is going on in the country. Well, it must be Trump's fault. Unbelievable. Now, I saw this question that kind of leads into our next topic. Brian of the Porch, does Trump win? I want to know what y'all think today. If you had $100 to bet on Trump or Kamala, who wins? I put it on Kamala. They cheated once. Why not cheat again? Dave, I love you. And I respect your opinion. Not that I've got $100 to bet with you, but I'm betting Trump. I'm betting Trump. Zippy says, I'm out. Bye-bye, guys. Zippy, good night. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the Rumble rant and all the cool things you do to make the wingnut section of Rumble all that much fun. So glad to have you. I'm betting Trump. With reservation, I know what could happen. And that gets me to my next section of the show tonight, which I call the signs and portends. And since it's the bottom of the hour, let me get to a real quick commercial. We'll get to the signs and portends. My name is Brian Trippett. This is Chattin on the Porch. We are on Rumble, Twitter, and YouTube. So please do me a favor and subscribe to my channels on YouTube and Rumble. We would really appreciate it. Hit the bell for notifications. Give the thumbs up. Leave a comment and chat and all that good stuff. So... Well, Dave, I'm glad to help you out. I really am. I don't know if I'm the most confident person in the world, but I'm saying he wins. with the understanding that the Democrats are going to do everything in their power to try and cheat. So, but if it helps you out right now, brother, I'm here for you. Now, I'm not just saying what I'm saying out of what I feel is blind. Before I shift off this topic of the assassination report, guys, it has been talked about now, but it is now official. On the 5th of October, Donald Trump is going back to Butler, Pennsylvania. And ladies and gentlemen, it's where he's going is the amazing part about it. This is the press release directly from the Trump-Vance campaign. On Saturday, October 5th, 2024, Donald Trump will return to Butler, Pennsylvania to hold a rally on the, listen to this, the very same ground where he came within a quarter of an inch of losing his life less than 3 months ago. Trump's return to Butler will mark his first visit to the site of the attack since he was struck by the assassin's bullet, but was saved by what the world's recognized as an act of divine providence. Trump will honor the memory of Corey Comparatore, who heroically sacrificed his life to shield his wife and daughters from the bullets. We'll also recognize 2 other Americans who were wounded by the shooter, Dave Dutch and James Copenhaver. He will express his deep gratitude to law enforcement and first responders and thank the entire community for their outpouring of love and support. 5 o'clock that evening, same exact spot. Damn. That guy's got guts. He's got some serious guts. Anyway, signs and portents. Now, as y'all know, I try to follow people who I think are very smart, but more importantly, they're pretty accurate. Oh, yeah. Big ones, baby. Big ones. As y'all know, I tend to try to follow people, election prognosticators who are smart, and more importantly, they're accurate, which means usually I'm checking in on what Rich Barris is saying, the People's Pundit, but also guys like Robert Cahaley of Trafalgar, Matt Towery of Insider Advantage, Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen, and others. But those are usually my 4 go-tos. Now, having said that, no, Rhonda, I see your comments. You're good. I'm sorry. I just hadn't said hello to you yet. My apologies. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah, I can see your comments. You're good. No, my apologies. I just hadn't had a chance to say hello to you. That said, those guys are scientific pollsters, okay? And they're accurate. And they have a history of being accurate. But then again, there's guys like me that follows what I call the signs and portents. Now, what I do is not very scientific, and I'll freely admit that. What I do is totally anecdotal. I see certain things happening, and I kind of get a feel for what's going on. Could I still be wrong in my prognostication? Oh, absolutely. I can be totally wrong. For example, I take a long drive somewhere out in the countryside, and I start looking for yard signs or 4x8 signs. Who's got them? How many are out? Where are they? How many of them do I see? Well, if I see one guy or lady's signs over another, I keep thinking, okay, this is a pretty well represented area. He might do pretty good here. Or if I go to the local parade, okay, like let's say the Labor Day parade or the July 4th parade, and I see how many people have they got in the parade. That's a pretty good sign. If I see social media posts, now again, is social media totally accurate? Of course not. Well, I saw something today, and I went and looked at it, and I went, oh, this is interesting. Did you guys hear about the poll that was conducted by the students at the University of Notre Dame? Okay. I've got a story here from what's called the Irish Rover. And the Irish Rover is the newspaper for the University of Notre Dame. And the headline, when this story dropped today, it went all over social media. This, to me, is extremely interesting. Okay. Headline: Notre Dame students favor Trump. Irish rover poll finds. Now, that, to me, is extremely interesting, and I'll tell you why. Look, it's Notre Dame. It's a Catholic university. But even still, it's a college university. You would think these kids would lean left, okay? Well, they did, and now they don't. I'll explain all that here in just a minute, and you'll understand what I'm talking about when we get into the guts of this story. So with that, let's dive right in. In an article written by Shri Thakur and Sam Marchand, we've got the following. Notre Dame students preferred Donald Trump over Kamala Harris in the 2024 presidential election, a new Irish Rover poll of 705 students found. As the race moves into its final months, the findings highlight a campus more politically divided than at any time in its recent history. Among likely voters, the former president leads the incumbent vice president by a margin of 47.6 to 45.9%. Green Party nominee Jill Stein received 0.6, while Libertarian Chase Oliver was preferred by 0.3% of respondents. 5.5% of students indicated they supported a candidate not listed on the ballot. Okay. The Irish Rover poll surveyed 705 likely student voters between September 15th and September 18th. The survey was sent to a variety of student dorms, nonpartisan clubs, and distributed in classes. Results were weighted to ensure a representative sample of the Notre Dame student body. The poll has a margin of error of 3.8% and a 95% confidence interval. Full results can be found here. Now, on its face, this poll doesn't necessarily sound all that different from most polls you're seeing out there among public pollsters. And Lord knows you could go out to Real Clear Politics and start picking up on what's going on. Okay. Now you sit there and you read this with me and you're asking, but Brian, why is this a sign or portent? I mean, what is it about this poll that's got you so intrigued? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not so much this poll as the shift that it represents. And with that, I think the next paragraph is going to explain why this is so interesting to me. If accurate, the results of the survey would mark the first time in 12 years that Notre Dame students preferred the Republican Party's nominee for president. The findings would also signify, and listen to this, a monumental shift towards the former president from his showing at the Notre Dame just 4 years ago. In 2020, Joe Biden had the support of 66% of Notre Dame students in a poll conducted by Student Government and Notre Dame Votes, while Trump got just 29%. In 2016, Hillary Clinton beat Trump in a similar poll by a margin of 59 to 24. I want to read that one more time. In 2020, Joe Biden had the support of 66% of Notre Dame students in a poll conducted by Student Government and ND Votes, while Trump got just 29%. In 2016, it was 59% for Hillary Clinton and 24% for Donald Trump. Now, if you take 2016 to 2020, it really doesn't mean that much of a difference. Yeah, the numbers are slightly off, but it's almost 2-1. The Democrat nominee is favored over the Republican. I mean, hell, in 2020, Donald Trump was the incumbent president, and he couldn't even get 1/3 of the poll respondents to say, yep, I'm going with Trump. I'm going with the incumbent. This guy is good. Joe Biden, and again, you could make an argument Biden had the advantage. He's Roman Catholic. He's well known. We were in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of bad policies were affecting college students. Okay, you could maybe make the argument as to why Joe Biden did so well. What nobody can explain, however, is why it is that in 4 years, the Democrat nominee in this poll has dropped 20 points, and Donald Trump has gone up a good 19%. And this could be it, Rhonda. This could be very it. Could be very true. And that shift is not just confined to Notre Dame. I mean, I haven't got all the examples of it pulled up, but if you start looking at results from the 2020 election and the current polling done in those same states, there's a shift of anywhere from 5 to 10%. Clear cut straight across the board. Okay? So you begin to see why I'm so interested in this poll. Now, I will grant you, it may not be the most scientifically done poll in the world. It may not be any number of different things, but you cannot ignore a poll of college students. College students that, by the way, kind of represent all over the country, if you stop and think about it. Because you got kids from all over America who are going to Notre Dame. And granted, not every student at Notre Dame took part in this poll. I understand that. But the people who ran the poll felt like they had a representation of pretty much the entire student body out of that 705-person sample. And Donald Trump is beating Kamala Harris with Notre Dame students, whereas 4 years ago, he couldn't even muster 30%. A sign? Could be. Could be. I'll give you another one. Again, totally unscientific. Totally unscientific. But it's worth keeping an eye on. Here's one for you. You guys have probably already seen this, but it's worth talking about. The cookie poll. Trump leads Cincinnati cookie poll with 54% of cookies sold to Kamala's 39%. The cookie poll has predicted every election but one since 1984. Now, you're sitting here looking at this, and no doubt you might be rolling your eyes saying, "Oh, for Brian, for the love of God, come on. I thought you're a serious commentator." I am a serious commentator. I'm as serious as a heart attack. Like I said, am I some kind of like scientific pollster and statistician? Of course not. I'll freely admit that. And I'll also freely admit that everything that I do, a lot of what I do is anecdotal. This is a sign of anecdotal evidence. But it's a cookie poll. Exactly. You buy your preference. You buy well, okay. Fair point. Fair point. This is, again, not perfect, not totally accurate. And maybe that was the one election that they're talking about. Okay, all right, maybe I'm nuts. Maybe I am nuts here. I just think there's more positive evidence out there than there is negative evidence. Again, I'm not saying this thing's a done deal, not by a long shot, okay? Not by a long shot. But I think there's a lot more positive evidence, both anecdotal and in polling, that points in the right direction, or at least in the direction that a lot of people want to see this outcome be. Now, okay, well, now I understand why you're saying he stole cookies in 2020. Well, you can't. Look, the cookie poll cannot necessarily account for what cookies he steals. Just saying. Okay. I'll even take the astrologer's. There you go. Oh, I know. I'm just messing with you, man. That's all. It's all good. No, I'm just saying. Don't get me wrong. I don't know how this thing is going to turn out yet. No one knows how it's going to turn out yet. Okay. I'm just saying. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to be as serious and as straight-eyed and objective as anybody else. But I just don't think there's reasons for our heads to be down at this point. It's not over. We've got a long way to go. But there are good signs out there. And if you don't want to believe the anecdotal, let me show you some stuff. This is coming out of Virginia. Virginia, of all places. They're early voting already. GOP rural turnout edge continues. Day 4 was slower in volume, but Dem turnout fell much more than previous day than Republican. Virginia, yeah, the early voting turnout in Virginia is getting really strong in Republican counties of all places. This is true. This is true. I haven't seen this, but I wouldn't be surprised by it. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think it. Wouldn't be surprised at all. So there's returns coming out of early voting in Virginia. And again, we don't know everything yet, but there are some counties out there, particularly in the western part of Virginia. Okay. These are considered strong GOP counties, and they've got early voting numbers that are going straight through the roof. The thing no one knows for sure yet, are these people who vote infrequently, or are these people who vote regularly? Well, if they're voting regularly, well, that's just cannibalizing the vote. I'm not so sure yet. So we'll yet to see. Now, with that said, here's some reasons to be very optimistic. Here's Virginia, of all places. Average Harris lead, 4.5. Pennsylvania, they're like almost tied if you believe the RCP average. Michigan, Gypsy's neck of the woods. Harris only has an average lead among all the polls of 1.8. Wisconsin is virtually a dead tie. North Carolina, Trump has a very slight lead in the average. Georgia, Trump's got a good solid almost 2.5 point lead among the average of polls. Arizona, Trump's got an almost 2 point lead on the average of polls. In Nevada, Harris is barely, and I mean barely, leading. Now, I point out all those polls, or at least the average of them. I point out all those polls because I've got a theory. Not necessarily original to me, but I think it's finally starting to kick in. A lot of people that I tend to listen to, particularly Rich Barris in these matters, TBA says, I'm totally untrusting of any of the Real Clear Politics polls. I agree with you. I'll agree with that. I'm not sure I totally untrusting of any of them. There are certain pollsters in there that I would, if they tell you something, okay, they're pretty accurate. Take them to the bank. Trafalgar, Insider Advantage, Rasmussen, a few others, a handful. But I point all those out to say this. I'm getting the feeling that the sugar high has worn off. Here's what I'm getting at. And again, this theory is not necessarily original to me, but it does bear repeating because I think it's now finally starting to happen. And it's this. People were figuring that when Kamala Harris got in the race, there'd be a lot of noise. Okay. Oh my gosh, she's the new shiny. She's the new candidate. Ooh, all the excitement, all the whatever. Okay. Good evening, dear. No, but I can do it real quick. Give me 1 second. Anyway, the theory goes that Kamala is the new candidate, the new kid on the block, the new shiny toy. And everybody, especially Democrats, get all excited. Oh, thank God we got rid of that old fart Joe Biden. Now we can win this thing. And Democrats get all excited and they get all jazzed up, and it starts revving up the Democrat numbers in the polling. Okay. So you have that. Then you have the Democrat National Convention. Then you have the first debate. Okay, all the noisy events that she could manufacture are done. Okay? They're done. Meaning now the noise is starting to fade out, and what's happening is the base numbers that were there before Biden dropped out are now starting to come back into play. Not totally, but we're getting there. Okay? And if what is happening is what I think is happening, over the coming days, you're going to see not a complete return to the polling numbers before Biden dropped out, but they're going to get real close. Now, to go to this request, let me show you something else. This dropped yesterday evening. Quinnipiac is one of the most Democrat-friendly pollsters out there. They dropped a national poll showing a dead even tie between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris nationwide. And I point this out, Quinnipiac, and I'm not kidding about this. Quinnipiac is one of the most Democrat-friendly pollsters out there. Okay? And they're also one of the most inaccurate, by the way. All right? They're awful. I don't have the chart pulled up, but let me tell you something. Usually they're off by anywhere from 6 to 8%. I'm not saying they're going to necessarily be off 6 to 8% in this election. I'm just saying they miss big time. And even they've got a poll that's got tied nationwide Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Again, this thing is a long way from being over, but the signs and portents are pointing in the right direction. By right direction, I mean people who are wanting to see a Trump victory. You have reason at this point to be encouraged. Again, not saying it's over, not saying it's a done deal, not saying anything of 100% certainty, but I'll tell you what. I go back to Dave's first question. If you had $100, who would you put it on right now? Buddy, I'm putting it on Trump. I'm putting it on Trump. It's there. It's right there. A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And a lot of things have got to go right. But I like the direction this thing's moving in. So, there you go. Oh, speaking of Nevada, I've got to thank Gypsy for this. She sent me something, and I'm going to be very curious to see the reaction among Hispanic voters. And again, I got to thank Gypsy for this one. This is from the Epoch Times. Harris and Trump agree to separate town halls hosted by Univision. The Spanish language network said the events will see both candidates field questions from undecided Hispanic voters about key issues. Article by Catabella Roberts, we have the following. Former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris have each agreed to a separate town hall in early October hosted by Univision, the Spanish language network announced. Trump's town hall will take place on October the 8th at 10 p.m. Eastern in Miami, while Harris's town hall will be held on October 10th at 10 p.m. Eastern from Las Vegas, Nevada, according to Univision. The events will be moderated by journalist Enrique Acevedo. Both town halls will air on their respective days with Spanish translation at 10 p.m. Eastern on Univision and streamed on VIX's unpronounceable Spanish word number 1, 24/7 channel. They will also be available in English on Noticias. Okay. I think even a hillbilly can get through that word. Noticias 24/7 Univision YouTube channel. Univision said the audiences in attendance at both town halls will be comprised mainly of undecided Hispanic voters who will ask Trump and Harris questions about important issues facing the community and the nation. The presidential candidates will need to field questions about issues such as the economy, jobs, healthcare, immigration, and foreign policy, which remain key issues for voters with less than a month to go into the election. The two events will put an electorate representing close to 15% of the United States front and center while creating a forum exclusively for Latinos, the network added. Yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see how this plays out. And the fact that Trump is going first, I like. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I want to thank Gypsy for dropping that one into me. Hat tip, young lady. Appreciate it. Oh, yes. Whitmer, the Wicked Witch, is already at work. God. And I saw this earlier, too. By the way, note to Republicans. If you do wind up winning this presidential election, would you please do yourselves and the country a really big favor? In the 2 years from now, in 2026, would you please, for the love of God, start winning some governor's races, some Secretary of State races, and some Attorney General races around the country, particularly in places like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania? Big things are made up of the little things, and if you guys actually had control of those offices, you wouldn't have to sweat elections quite the way you do in those states. Just saying. Anyway. All right. We've got some Nightcap stuff, and let me tell you, these Nightcap items that I've got, when I saw these today, or particularly the first one we're going to talk about, I looked at that and I went, oh my God, he really is doing it. So let me do one last real quick commercial and we'll get to the Nightcaps. Says the man that sips water. Anyway, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. If you have found your way to this live stream, this is what we call Chattin on the Porch. We get together Monday night through Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern. And we talk about stuff we find in the news. And sometimes it's stuff that you guys provide to me and be like, hey, you want to talk about this? I'm like, hell yes, let's talk about it. Sometimes I go out and find it on my own. So, thank you for everything you guys do to help this little live stream be what it is. I genuinely appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe on YouTube, on Rumble, all those places. Genuinely appreciate it. This is a wonderful crowd of people here tonight. You guys are absolutely awesome, and I genuinely mean that with all my heart. And yeah, small time, this is a completely fair point. Completely fair. But then again, those two jokers, Kemp and Raffensperger, or Ratzberger, as I'm fond of referring to him, they're not, anyway, they are their own unique political animal. No, I understand. I agree. I agree completely. All right. I want to go back to a political theory that I have been espousing now for quite some time. And the theory goes like this: that Joe Biden is going out of his way, either behind the scenes or out and out in public, to put a knife into Kamala Harris's back. Now, I know that sounds weird. I mean, they're both Democrats. He's the president. She's the vice president. She's running to succeed him, hopefully continue his agenda, yada, yada, yada. But daggone, every time I turn around, he's doing something that absolutely has got to be making people inside the Harris campaign tear their hair out and scream at the top of their lungs. And today was no different. Now, we played a clip earlier of Joe Biden on The View. Okay. Well, there's one other clip from that interview that has been getting around, and when you hear it, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. With that, let's go to a headline from Breitbart to set this up. Joe Biden says he delegated everything to Kamala, foreign policy to domestic policy. Now, okay, that's the setup. All I got to do now is just play the clip. This is going to blow your mind. It runs for 11 seconds, but you've got to hear this. Okay, now remember what the headline just said. Biden says he delegated everything to Kamala. With that, here's the clip.
And as vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
Okay, I want to play that I'm going to play that again. Listen to what he said.
And as vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I did that she couldn't do.
As vice president, there wasn't a single thing that I could do that she couldn't do. And here's the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. And so I was able to delegate her responsibility on everything from foreign policy to domestic policy.
I was able to delegate everything to her, foreign policy and domestic policy. Guys, do you realize the implication of what he just said? Basically, yeah, I found her to be just as competent as I was, and I delegated to her all kinds of stuff, not just domestic policy, foreign policy too. And by the way, I'm not the only person coming to that conclusion. Let's go back to that article from Breitbart. Article by Wendell Hughesbow. We've got the following commentary. Joe Biden said Wednesday that he delegated everything as commander-in-chief to Kamala Harris, including foreign and domestic policy. The acknowledgement is significant because it contradicts Harris's talking points. She has tried on multiple occasions to distance herself from Biden and Harris's record. Quote, my approach is about new ideas, new policies that are directed at the current moment. And also, to be very honest with you, my focus is very much in what we need to do over the next 10, 20 years to catch up to the 21st century. Harris told Brian Tapp of Philadelphia's Action News 6 ABC on September 13th. I'm obviously not Joe Biden, and I offer a new generation leadership, she said, providing examples of what Biden and Harris administration failed to achieve. 57% of registered voters believe they are not better off under Biden and Harris administration as they were 4 years ago under former President Donald Trump. And he repeats the same thing. As vice president, there wasn't a single thing I did she couldn't do. And so I was able to delegate responsibility on everything from foreign to domestic policy. Oh my God, guys, he is sticking the knife into this woman. I mean, here's Kamala over here trying to say, hey, I'm a brand new generation of Democrats. I've got ideas that will be for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. They're going to take us further into the 21st century. And here's Joe Biden over here saying, well, there wasn't a thing she could do that I couldn't do, so I delegated everything to her on foreign and domestic policy. Oh, my God. Yeah, exactly, Rhonda. Exactly. She's trying to get free of him. He's over here hanging on to her ankle, like a kid, at play with their parent. It's like, I'm not going to let go. I'm not going to let go. I won't let go. You can't make me let go. It's, oh my God. I'm telling you, he is still pissed off over the fact that he was forced out. He's still mad about it. I haven't got them pulled up, but I saw them the other day. There are articles out there where he's still saying, yeah, I was the best person to take on Donald Trump. I could have still beaten him. He's been out of this race now since July, and he's still mad about it. I am telling you right now, to the bottom of my soul, I absolutely believe this. This guy is trying to stick a knife into her. He knows, pardon my language, he knows damn good and well what this woman did to him. And now he's returning the favor. I am absolutely telling you. Yeah, Blocked ad runner. Hot. Joe's letting her take the fall for his administration scripts. Bingo. Yeah. Blocked ad runner. Well, now there may be another reason here. Blocked ad runner may be onto it. Biden is upset that Obama didn't take him to any of the freak parties. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. And this is a good point too. They've never liked each other. That is Biden and Kamala Harris. They never have. They have been political partners by default. Just saying. Yeah, narcissism is a hell of a drug. I agree with that completely. Guys, look, it has been widely reported that when Joe got out, Obama wanted to do some kind of an open mini primary. His idea would have been Mark Kelly, which, by the way, I think that would have been a fairly good choice for the Democrats. And what did Joe Biden do? The ultimate form of, as I walk out the door, he endorsed Kamala and forced the Democrat Party to get in behind her doing it. I mean, that man may have his moments of cognitive dissonance, for lack of a better way of saying it. But in that moment, he was just lucid enough to realize, oh yeah, you're going to force me out? Take this. That's exactly what he did. That's what the endorsement of Kamala was all about. It was the ultimate screw you to Obama, Kamala Harris, and everybody else. Now, most people would think, oh, Kamala's happy that she's got Joe Biden's endorsement. Well, yes and no. It's a double-edged sword for her. Yeah, she's going to take the endorsement. On the other hand, Joe knows what it meant. He locked out Obama, locked him out completely. And then what did Kamala do? Oh, she was letting her fingers do the walking, talking to everybody on the telephone, locking down endorsements. And inside of what, a week, she had all the endorsements, everybody she needed, that when she went to the convention. Wait, hell, even before she went to the convention, she had all the delegates locked in. And there was nothing Barack Obama could do at that point. And ever since then, Joe Biden and his people, and I've got another clip here in a minute. Oh, God. You think this is confined to Joe Biden? I'm telling you right now, he and his people are absolutely out there sowing their little seeds of dissension. And I've got a clip that'll prove that here in a minute. But yeah, he is absolutely, yeah. Revenge is a dish best served cold, said Blocked Ad Runner over on Rumble. And boy, you are absolutely right. That's a good point. That's a good point too. Hadn't thought about that angle, but that is a really good point. Oh God. Oh God. Could you imagine that ticket? Jesus. Oh my God. Ugh. Lord have mercy. All right. One more nightcap, and then we'll bring this thing into a conclusion. Did you guys hear about Kamala's speech at the Economic Club of Pittsburgh today? If ever you needed proof that Kamala is truly a mental giant, she proved it today at the Economic Club of Pittsburgh. And but I will give Kamala credit for one thing. Her public appearances are getting more polished. We have a picture of her walking into the Economic Club of Pittsburgh. And, I think this is definitely worth taking a look at. So here she comes. Yeah, there's Kamala walking into the Economic Club of Pittsburgh. Really, yeah, it's a really good likeness of her. I give her credit. Although why she's carrying that riding crop, I have no idea. That's kind of weird. But anyway, yeah. So we've got some clips here, and I do love I do love how Kamala tries to relate to any audience that she is a part of. And with that, we'll start off with how she's tying in economic policy to background. Take a listen to this.
Of making ends meet. I grew up in a middle-class family.
Boy, let me tell you, I've never seen anybody get as much mileage out of being born into a middle-class family as this woman has. Whew, I tell you. Now, we do have a longer clip, and I want you guys to listen to all the profundity of policy that she's going to lay out here. With that, check this out.
Here's the thing. Here's the beauty of it all. We know how to build an economy like that. We do know how to unlock strong shared economic growth for the American people. History has shown it time and again. When we invest in those things that strengthen the middle class, manufacturing, housing, healthcare, education, small businesses, and our communities, we grow our economy and catalyze the entire country to succeed. I have pledged that building a strong middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. And the reason
in manufacturing, housing, but how? Where are the details? What is it that you want to do? Oh, you had no idea that she was raised in a middle-class family? It's shocking. Positively shocking, I say. Oy. You know, I really need to do a test of how many brain cells I lose every time I hear her speak. It borders on the silly. It really does. You know. And by the way, the cackles are back. You don't believe me? Listen to this.
And as Andrea said, not everybody was handed on a silver platter $400 million and then filed for bankruptcy 6 times. Oh, I said that. I actually said that.
I said that. Oh, that was me. Yeah, okay. Yeah, good point, small time. Good point. Middle-class family could afford to send her back and forth between Montreal and Northern California. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Oh, yeah, she's slurring her words. She's slurring again. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you, Blocked Ad Runner. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, by the way, this speech was not well received. Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And this speech was not well received. And when I say it wasn't well received, you remember what I said about Biden and his people going around putting the knife in her back? Listen to who this criticism comes from. The criticism of this speech is not going to come from a Republican. It's going to come from a Democrat. Folks, check this out.
Little critical of the vice president. I felt like there was absolutely no.
That is Ashley Itterine, former senior advisor to President Biden. Okay, with that, we go on.
Nothing novel about what happened today. I mean, to give an economic speech at an economic club in Pittsburgh, I mean, there's nothing about that feels fresh, new. It's not even consistent with what I even know about her. I worked for as her communications director. So my point is to her and her team, you've got 40 days. The only way you can beat Donald Trump is you've got to take greater risk. That message that happened today at 3:00 in the middle of the day, I'm not sure that that's going to move any of the constituents that she needs to target right now, Latino and Black men, for example. I'm not sure they heard themselves in that speech. And what I know about the vice president is she actually sees people, and they need to put that on display. But this was not, to me, was not a great little.
Ooh. That wasn't nice. Guys, I'm telling you, there is not a lot of love inside the Democrat Party right now. All that joy out of Chicago seems to be disappearing quickly. Or that sort of even begs the bigger question, was it ever there to begin with? Oh, now this isn't. I wonder if the Democrats can be shaken up Trumpian style like the Republicans were. They're ripe for it. You know, that's an interesting question. And I would argue it's happening more in the Republican Party than the Democrat. Here's what I'm getting at. Populism or populist politicians are finding more of a home in the Republican Party than the Democrat. Bernie is a populist on the left. The problem is they bribed him. He got his and he doesn't care anymore. Okay. AOC could have been a populist leader in the Democrat Party. She got hers and she ain't going, she got hers and they ain't going to bother. She's not going to bother anymore. But I agree with you, Rhonda. The Democrat Party is ripe for a shakeup. I just don't know that they're there yet. I think the power structures in the Democrat Party as currently constituted are quashing more populist elements from getting a hold of the party's mechanisms. The Republican Party, and I'm not saying it's over yet, but the populists are succeeding in redefining the Republican Party as to what it is, more so than what's happening with the Democrats. Now, time will tell how all that plays out, but I think that's a really good question. I really do. And with that, folks, we're going to go ahead and bring this train into the station. It is about 20 minutes after 9 Eastern, and this is the conclusion of Chattin on the Porch. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Oh, you guys have been a load of fun tonight. The questions, the memes, the comments, the stuff you guys have provided. You guys are truly, truly, truly the best audience on the internet. I love you guys so much. I really do. I will be tomorrow night. As a reminder, I will be on Tracy Barkley's channel, X Marks the Spot. We'll be doing a deep dive into Sean P. Diddy Combs, and apparently it's Tracy, it's me, and it's Jessica Fensky, aka Forest Mommy. So this is going to be a load of fun. So please, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, join us. It's going to be an absolute hoot. So with that, that's where you can catch me tomorrow night. Saturday morning, 10:30 Eastern, we'll be back with Front Porch Brunch. And yes, by the way, for all you guys in the path of Hurricane Helene, please be safe. Please, please, please be safe. I mean, look, I know I joked around about how Floridians get ready for a hurricane, but please do what y'all got to do down there. Please be safe. Our prayers and our love is with you. I know that that's not necessarily going to stop rain and wind, but we love you guys down there in Florida. Y'all be safe. Do what you got to do. Protect yourselves, okay? We love you. We'll be back Saturday morning, 10:30. We'll be on Tracy's channel tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Leave some comments in chat. Hit the thumbs up on the way out. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Subscribe to the channel, and remember the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, when he said, "It's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money." I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow night at 6 o'clock on Tracy's channel. I'll see you Saturday morning at 10:30 for Front Porch Brunch. Bye-bye.